So this is Design Strategies and Motivation, Week 1, Discussion Post 1 by Lydia Bobo. And this is for the Funny Bone Puppet Theater. These are the 30 thumbnails. So the foreshortened version of the name was Funny Bone. And the shortened tag is Get Tickled. So one of the things that impressed me this week in the readings was in Chapter 4 of Logo Design Love. And it was in the section calling the adjectives supplied by the client. The attorneys at Harnard, Bockard, and Denton wanted a new logo that would show that they were professional, ethical, strong, etc. So that was something for me to keep in mind, as the Funny Bone Puppet Theater is a late-night comedy club with an avant-garde bohemian puppet theme. So ultimately, I wanted the logo to convey these qualities as well as being offbeat, quirky, and politically incorrect. So thumbnail 1 is a sort of skull and crossbones, which are supposed to be funny bones, and then the skull is actually a puppet head that's smiling. And then thumbnail 2 is supposed to be a funny bone being tickled, and I'm not sure if I like that one too much. Thumbnail 3 is a smiling mouth and a funny bone. Sort of looks like it's going to eat the funny bone, so I'm not sure if I like that one too much. Thumbnail 4 is just a smiling puppet head. Thumbnail 5 is the smiling puppet head with ha ha ha, so I'm not sure if that works too well. And thumbnail 6 is just the smiling mouth, which I thought looked like a crescent moon the way it was juxtaposed. So with thumbnail 7, it was the smiling mouth crescent moon shape, and then I just added a star. Thumbnail 8 is supposed to coincide with the late night comedy club feel with the crescent moon and the ha ha ha, but it just looks like the moon is sleeping, so that doesn't make too much sense to me. Thumbnail 9 is a little more comical because it looks like the moon is dreaming of a martini, and then there are a few M's below. And then thumbnail 10 is just the crossbones with the smiling mouth. So I'm not sure if I like that one too much. So one of the other things that impressed me was the after logo of Kleenex. And I thought that was making it soft, comfortable, and approachable. And I thought that it looked enticing on the sliced fruit packaging, so that was just something for me to keep in mind as later in the class I'll be applying the logo to different surfaces like beer mugs or t-shirts or flyers or what have you. So thumbnail 11 is just text. It's ha ha ha. It's sort of a triangular shape. Thumbnail 12 is basically the same thing. It kind of looks like a rocket, so I'm not for sure about that one. Thumbnail 13 looks more like it's part of a comic strip. It's the puppet smiling and waving, so I'm not sure if I like that one too much. And then thumbnail 14 is the puppet hanging off of the crescent moon, since it's a late night club. Thumbnail 15 is just the puppet with the funny bone crossbones. Thumbnail 16 is a little more like the theme that I reviewed in the last course, the sophisticated marionette theme, so I'm not sure if that works at all. And then thumbnail 17 is just the puppet with a skull and crossbones, which I think looks a little more menacing and kind of confusing because the puppet is smiling. So thumbnail 18 has some potential. It's just a smiling, waving puppet with a martini glass, so that's kind of comical and it's aimed at adults, so I may want to keep that one, I'm not sure yet. And thumbnail 19 is supposed to be ha ha ha, but instead of the H's are the pint glasses, which don't really look like H's. The martini glass looks like a Y, so I don't think that works too well. And then thumbnail 20 is just FB exclamation point and then get tickled. So I'm not sure if I want to move forward on that one yet. So another thing that impressed me was in the Nigel French video in the beginning, he reviewed 3 points: making a positive impression, differentiating, and conveying a positive message. So I wanted to pay attention to differentiation since that's my chosen concept that I'd like to move forward on. And then thumbnail 21 is just FB with an exclamation point. This just looks like Facebook. It reminds me of Facebook with an exclamation point, so I didn't really like that one too much. Thumbnail 22 is just experimenting with type. It's a backwards F and the B. For some reason, this reminds me of the Van Halen logo, so I don't really like that one too much. Thumbnail 23 has some potential. I like the funny bone in the middle. It's a sort of differentiation between the F and the B. And so that one I like. Thumbnail 24 is just the crossbones and the FB exclamation point at the top. I'm not sure if I like that composition. I think it's a bit too much. Thumbnail 25 is like the previous one. The F and the B are a little more ornate. They're more thick. And then there's the funny bone in the middle. So this one I may move forward on. Thumbnail 26 is, again, it's the F and the B and then the exclamation point. I think it's kind of confusing because it just looks like FBI. The squiggly line is confusing. It kind of looks like an E, so I'm not sure if I like that one too much. It's not straightforward. Thumbnail 27 has potential. I think that the F and the B are easier to read. The F looks like a 7, but if it were thicker and more ornate, and if the B was like that as well, I think the readability would be much better. And then thumbnail 28 is a more intricate version because it includes the P and the T, so I don't think I'd want to move forward on that. I like the foreshortened name better. Thumbnail 29 I don't really like too much. It was confusing. It was supposed to be a little more abstract, but I ended up drawing arrows and naming everything because it wasn't easy to understand what the letters were exactly. And then the last one is just the crossbones with a puppet face instead of a skull. So it's comical. I'm not sure if I would want to add the letters. So that's what I have so far.